How's Cade? How's Cade?
Sorry.
So,
No, Cade's feeling better today, so he's day to day. We'll be going day by day, how he's feeling. But he's feeling better today.
Does that kind of prompt the move with Enright?
We just needed pitching overall. We needed innings today. So unfortunate with Nick, obviously. You see how we feel about him. We throw him in leverage. We throw him whenever, and gets his first major league victory, and we had to send him down today to Columbus.
Every manager seems to say this, but if you could have an extra guy or two, how much would that help in dealing with the schedule, because when you play 13 games, 6 games in a row, you know how it works out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you'd love to have as many arms as you can and not have any limitations to how many people you can bring with you, but every team goes through it, and it's the way our game's designed.
Tanner's after his last start, like he feels like you obviously have good days, middling days, bad days, but he feels like lately some of the good days you looked up and 3 or 4 runs on the board. It was just that kind of impression you've gotten to.
Yeah, Tanner's been great. Like you said in Oakland, the 5 runs was not indicative of how he threw, and so those things are going to happen. You're going to have days where you feel great and they score runs, or you have days you feel not so great and they don't. It's baseball. That's why you just go out and compete, and that's what excites me the most about Tanner. Is he's the ultimate competitor. So whether he's got his A stuff, B stuff, whatever it might be, you're going to get everything from him that day.
You guys work pregame every game, but this park has been known, and for us that have been here a while, it's known to play different when it's hot. How important is it to go out right now and see Lane and those guys, especially playing right field, getting fly balls now?
Yeah, we have to practice. There's no days off for our guys. We're smart with it. We work different sometimes, but yeah, I mean, Lane's playing right, hasn't played right for a while here, but he's played a ton of right field in his career. So just to go see how the ball's flying is super important.
What was the conversation like with Enright after he gets his first win, and then you're telling him he's going down?
Yeah, we talked to him this morning, so we knew we needed to make a move, but get his first major league win. Enjoy the night. And then we had the conversation this morning, and it was great. Nick was very thoughtful with his reflections on his time, and he referenced getting the outing in San Francisco in a big moment and what he learned from that, and went and applied it already last night. So like we told him, Nick, you've proved that you can pitch in the highest of leverage at the major leagues. You're a big league pitcher. Just right now you have to go back to AAA, but stay ready. And he was very thankful for the opportunity, and he said, I'll be ready next time you call.
He caught me off guard a little bit on the field yesterday when I asked him about pitching and leverage, and he said, hey, what I've gone through in life, this kind of prepared me for all that. We all know his story, but how cool is it that he's mature enough to be able to do that and say that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously have never been through that personally, but I could see where what he's gone through in his personal life, this is just a game, and the moment's not going to be too big for him. He's had battles that very few of us have had. So for Nick, it's a great story. He's a great human being, and like I said, he's going to be back soon.
When you looked at the bullpen last night, was Allard the last guy standing, kind of?
Yeah, Gaddy was going to pitch the 11th, and then Allard was the last guy after that.
Gabby's RS, when you just look at his runners in scoring position hitting, he's like over 100 points higher this year, and I know it's small scale, but what does it say about those situations that are helping him be so much better this year than he has been in the past?
Yeah, I tend to believe that hitters are better with a task. When you have an objective in your at bat that's clear, you go up there, and I think a lot of people struggle with nobody on. There's really no task. So, especially specifically for Gabby, I think when he goes up there with a mindset to do one specific thing, it definitely helps him have a more quality at bat.
Did you ever lie to yourself when you were hitting?
Tried everything. Try everything.
Bases are loaded.
Yeah.
You said that though about Hosey last night, and I thought about it as we went home. You're like, with the bases loaded in that situation, you love having him there because he's going to make contact. As a manager, how great is that to have that?
I mean, I love that Hosey plays for this team. I mean, I say it, I don't hide from it. It's my favorite thing about this job is watching him play, but he knows what he needs to do in that moment. He's not going to get too big. He's not going to try and do too much. He's just going to take what he gets and get the job done.
Is Gaddis good to go today?
Yeah.
We've asked you a ton about Bieber, but yesterday what the next step is for him on bullpen wise.
Yeah, so Bieber has another bullpen tomorrow or Saturday. I can't remember. It's either tomorrow or Saturday. And then we'll determine what's next after that. But yeah, he feels great coming out of his bullpen.
Steven, when you look at this team, can this offense get better, and why? Why do you believe it can? I'm sure you believe it can.
Yeah. I mean, I think, to me, if you look at the group as a whole, when we click, we put together good games when we're stringing things together. And you know, Quan and Hosey have been consistent all year, and then Carlos has had his spurts where he's been consistent, and so Manzo's had spurts, but Manzo's getting better, Jonesy's getting better, Lane's getting better, David's getting better, Bo's getting better, you know, Angel's getting better. Schnee's been great for us. I mean, this is a really good offense, Hoynesy. We just haven't been clicking all at the same time, and I think we're trending towards that. We're seeing more and more guys put together quality at bats together on any given night. The recipe is here. We just have to find the right way for it to click.
Do you, with the trade deadline about a month away, do you think you need something? Do you need something from the outside?
We don't know yet. We have to let the next 4.5 weeks play out before we can really know. And obviously, that's up to Chris, Mike, and Matt. I mean, I trust those guys to give us the best players possible, and I know that if we can play well and put ourselves in a position, we're gonna look for opportunities. But I think we have the ingredients right here, right now that can win it, and we just have to continue to work to get more consistent.
Seawall going back out anytime?
Yeah,
So I'm
he's
just
pitching tomorrow.
see him and stuff on the same days, or is that just happening?
I think it's just I'm not, but I think just with their calendars, they're on the same day.
The goal is to always win the series. Based off of the last two games, what's the approach or the keys to getting that today?
We just have to continue to have quality at bats. You know, when we get into trouble is when we walk people, when we make errors, and we don't string hits together. So it's really that simple. And so continue to throw strikes. It's a really good offense that they have over there, and a very good defense. So we have to continue to put pressure on it, make things happen. Quality at bat after quality at bat, and we got a tough matchup in Gossman today.
With the Cade, was the back spasms just yesterday? Is that when they kind
it
of
popped
flared
up like during BP time, and so it flared up yesterday.
It's good to see Gosman because of that split, see him more than once because we saw him in Toronto.
Yeah, we saw him in Toronto. Yeah, I mean, he's tough. He tunnels the fastball and split at the bottom of the zone. So we got to be ready to go. We got to be ready to hit, and hopefully make some mistakes up in the zone.
Is it fair to say you want to get him early in the count so you don't have that, or is it bad?
You always want to get these pitchers early in the count. So, and Gossman's no different. We got to be ready to go from pitch number one.
What'd you think of Scherzer yesterday?
I always love watching Hall of Famers play, and man, it's still coming out really good. It's incredible. The career he's had, the miles that he has on his arm and body, and he still can pitch. We were fortunate to get some runs off him and put ourselves into a chance to win, but he's still really good.
It's weird to say, but even with him, why is it so much that for really good starters, if you don't get them early? Because it seemed like early on it was like he was wavering, and then before you know it was the fourth or fifth inning.
I mean, I think the more veteran pitcher, the more you can feel what you're doing and make adjustments. You know your stuff, you know your body, you know your delivery, you know what you need to do, and they get one feeling and they settle in and they start just putting the ball wherever they want. So it was good to jump him in the first for sure.
Listen, it's been, a year and a half now in Cleveland for you. How comfortable do you feel in the city? How comfortable do you feel in the clubhouse? And just how much are you enjoying your time there?
Oh, I'm loving it. I mean, the atmosphere here is phenomenal. The clubhouse is gorgeous, and to be able to play in the city in front of these fans is so much fun every day. It's a blessing to come to the ballpark, and I know that we look forward to coming home from road trips every time we leave. So it's been great here, and summer's also here now, so it's nice and warm. So it's beautiful.
I love this background, by the way. I feel like we've announced you as our draft pick, which is great. So I love the press conference background. Cade, I always wanted to ask this to an elite pitcher, an elite reliever, and pitchers I think say this, right? Starters or relievers talk about only focusing on the next batter, right? Or even the next pitch. You throw a ball, can't worry about that. Time to focus on the next pitch. being placed exactly where you wanted. That's your job, and you've done it exceptionally well. But I'm just curious, is that mindset difficult to maintain every time you go out? Like, how do you manage that?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a strange mindset because you're trying to focus on really only what you can control, and the part that becomes strange about it is realizing how small that circle really is. So as far as like being in a game, like it comes down to pitch by pitch. It's when you're making the first pitch from that bat, you're not worrying about the second pitch, you're not worrying about the outcome. You have to focus on that pitch itself and executing it. And if you don't, you have to forget about it and approach the next pitch. And that's how you have to handle each pitch, each batter, each outing. That's the way you have to take it, one small step at a time, and really taking care of the things that you can control.
You did get some chances to pitch in some state opportunities earlier this year when Emmanuel Clase was injured. I mean, that was around mid-April, I want to say. 3 saves on the year for you. Does that mentality, just because we're talking about mentality and what you have to do when you're on the mound, does that change when you're pitching in different roles as opposed to pitching in the 8th inning versus getting the chance to lock down games in the 9th? Does that change for you?
No, I don't think so. I think that there's for sure an awareness and understanding of the situation and the circumstances, right? Like pitching in a game where it's tied or where you have a lead or where you have a large lead, like there's understanding that there's a difference in context, but my mindset doesn't change. Like I'm going out there to compete the way I can, to focus on things that I can control and try and do those with excellence, and understanding that each day I'm preparing to go out and take advantage of those opportunities that I have, regardless of what the situation is. So time of the game that I pitch doesn't matter. I mean, anytime the phone rings and they call my name, I'm going to go out and compete with everything I have to try and either keep the game close or keep the game tied or keep the game keep our team in it. Just whatever I can do to help the team, that's what's asked of me, and that's what I want to go out and do.
Hey, I was in the Guardians clubhouse actually covering for MLB.com here in Toronto when you guys were here, and it seemed like a pretty good environment. Guys are just chilling, really, and gelling, if you will. And I'm wondering how much you can rely on your teammates, especially in the bullpen, as you go through a long season with different roles, with ups and downs, and everything that really comes with a major league year. What is that relationship like for you?
I think it becomes an interdependence, right? I don't think that you can get through a whole season without relying on one another. There's going to be days when I struggle and I'm going to need someone to come and pick me up. And I'm going to want them to come and do the job. And there's going to be days when other guys are going to struggle and it might be my name that's called to come pick them up. And I'm going to go in there with everything I have, trying to help my teammate out, and also all those other things I've discussed about keeping the team in a spot to win. But really, I mean, it's a long season. It's a grueling season. I mean, there's long days, lots of travel, all that stuff plays a part in it. But to be able to be down there with that group of guys, knowing that these are the 7 guys with me who we're ready to take on any challenge that is asked of us, any situation, is a huge honor. And I think that kind of mentality extends to the clubhouse in general, that like the guys that are in that clubhouse are united with the goal that we're going out to play our style of baseball and compete in any way that we can, and to play hard and to be resilient and persistent, and trust that that's going to help us have the outcome that we desire.
Is it cool to also be able to just catch up with or see some old teammates in Andres Jimenez, Nick Stanlin, who was your bullpen buddy last year?
For sure. I mean, they say that baseball's a small world, and I think just even being now just over a year, it gets smaller and smaller as you go on. So,
what's your relationship like, Cade, with Bo Naylor? I only ask because it's not that often we get to discuss an all-Canadian battery, but what's that like for you?
it's awesome. I mean, he does a great job. He puts in a ton of work off the field as far as the scouting, the preparation, knowing the hitters, and then also understanding how each individual pitcher in the bullpen and on the rotation is going to overlap their strengths against the hitters. So, I mean, he's a great guy to have in the clubhouse too. Like, he brings a lot of good fun to the atmosphere, and having him behind the dish is awesome. I mean, all our catchers do a phenomenal job with the pitch calling and the homework. So, as far as that battery is a special relationship. Having trust in that is a very, very important thing, and that's definitely something that we have here.
It's kind of cool as well that you guys are literally representing opposite ends of the country when you're pitching and catching together. And listen, I know you guys lost to Canadian Josh Naylor over the offseason, but you all got to play together, and you got to play with even more Canadian major leaguers in the World Baseball Classic. I'm wondering just how fondly you remember that experience, and if there's anything that stands out to you from those moments in the WBC.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal experience. I mean, that was definitely by far, at that point, that was the most intense atmosphere I'd ever played in. You know, playing in those stadium with that kind of crowd, and for something that's so meaningful. So to be able to, you know, understand that now, I'm able to pitch in that environment and to be comfortable and to compete and be excited and have fun with it is a huge confidence boost. You know, going forward to pitch in environments like last October. But as far as, you know, being able to talk to those guys who've been there for multiple WBCs and multiple years in the major leagues and to just pick their brain and ask them questions and try and learn from them was a huge benefit too, because they have so much experience and they were willing to share that very openly with me, and so that I could, you know, try and learn and incorporate some things that might help me as I started my career.
You know, I remember when Josh Naylor was still a Guardian, and the Guardians, you guys had come here to Toronto, and I think we had the opportunity to see Josh win the Tip O'Neill Award, and he was handed it here in Toronto, which was really cool. And Bo Naylor was present, their family was present. That was pretty neat. I remember I asked Josh Naylor then, Cade, if there was any Canadian ball players he grew up watching. I think one of the guys he went out of his way to mention, as you might not be surprised to hear, was Joey Votto, and that was pretty cool, of course. And I'm just curious. I mean, I'm sure it's different for a pitcher versus a position player. So I wanted to ask you, since we don't get the chance to speak with you too often, there are Canadian ball players that you grew up watching. Like for me, it was, you know, like Larry Walker and Ryan Dempster, for example. But I'm curious if it's different for you.
I think it might be slightly different. So my dad grew up just outside Toronto, so we always had the Jays on at home, and so he would tell me more, you know, to watch Roy Halladay and just watch him pitch. So I mean, a lot of good memories from watching. You know, the Jays. I mean, they'd always be on at home, but yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to sort of represent an entire country, right, Cade? And I know that this is it's changing a little bit because there are more and more Canadians in the majors, but it's a cool responsibility as well, I'm sure. And I'm wondering if you feel like that as well. And if you have given any thoughts to the upcoming WBC, apologies if I miss anything here, but where do you stand on the possibility of playing for Canada again?
Yeah, I mean, I had a ton of fun last time, and I would love to do it again. Obviously, a lot of things have to happen. Like, you know, first and foremost, you got to stay healthy. Every time we go out there and pitch, there's a chance that something could go wrong, and so that's outside of my control. And I got to take it one day at a time to get there. But I've got great memories of the last WBC, and I'd love to be part of that again.
And listen, let's switch sports a little bit. I know Sho had a tongue-in-cheek hockey question for you. Let's just start with, are you a hockey fan? Did you grow up watching Canada sports?
I never grew up watching hockey. I didn't play it, so maybe I'm the atypical Canadian that way.
It sounds like you picked the right path here.
I think you did.
Well, in that case, let me ask you this, just to wrap this up here. From the other side, for sure, and keeping in mind that you are very focused on your task and what you have to do, but can you find appreciation for watching a guy like Max Scherzer, a future Hall of Famer, come back and pitch for the Blue Jays?
Of course. I mean, seeing any of the guys who have been in the league for that long is impressive to watch. I mean, it's you know, he's the kind of name too where it's like you grew up hearing about him and watching him, and he's been in the league long enough to get to that point that, like, to be able to actually be on the same field as him is something that's pretty cool.